Imagine for a second that you actually run the dark web. It's one of those concepts most of us only ever associate with hacker movies or crazy sensational headlines, completely divorced from everyday reality. But what does it actually take to climb the ranks of a hidden digital empire? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a granular, step-by-step look at the exact architecture of the digital underworld. We're going to track the trajectory of a dark web career, moving from the absolute lowest rung of the ladder all the way up to the apex of a hidden syndicate. It is a fascinating, incredibly high-stakes journey through an invisible world. Let's get into it.
To really understand this world, you kind of have to put yourself right in the middle of it. And trust me, it is not a glamorous Hollywood set. It's 3 a.m. The only light in the room is this dull, relentless blue glow coming off your monitor. The air around you is totally stale. It smells like cold, forgotten coffee, mixed with that faint, sweet chemical scent of a computer cooling fan working overtime because it's overheating. You aren't just casually browsing the web anymore. You are deeply embedded. So, let's define the literal gateway to this dark career path. You've just clicked a link, but it absolutely does not end in a .com or a .org. Instead, it ends in .onion. It's this complex string of 50 completely random characters. It looks like a typo, but actually, it's a trapdoor. This specific routing completely bypasses the map of the normal internet we all use every day. Clicking this link drops you directly into the digital underworld. For most people, it's a myth. For you, in this scenario, it's day one of your new career.
All right, level 1. The forum watcher. This is the entry-level gig.
You really have to get into the mindset of someone taking this job. You are 19 years old, and you are suffocatingly broke. And I don't mean missing a night out with friends broke. I mean you're 3 months behind on rent, and your cell phone is days away from being shut off. You find a post on a hidden forum looking for eyes, and here's the bait, $200. That's your weekly payout, and it's paid entirely in Bitcoin. Now, to a broke 19-year-old, this feels like unbelievably easy money. It's more than your dad makes in a whole month. You rationalize it, right? It's just a temporary gig to get back on your feet. But the reality is a whole lot darker. Because the second you accept that first Bitcoin transfer into your wallet, a psychological boundary is breached. You have officially crossed a line that you absolutely cannot uncross.
So, what do you actually do for that $200? Well, the day-to-day reality is a massive grind. Your job is incredibly simple, but super intense. You're basically the watcher standing on the digital street corner. You sit in these encrypted chat rooms for 14 hours a day. You're scanning for what the admins call birds or snakes. These are basically user accounts asking a few too many specific questions, or maybe an IP address that suddenly flags as government-owned. You sit there, hyper-vigilant, with your thumb literally hovering right over the alert key. You never see the servers. You never touch the actual product. To the big-shot administrators above you, you're literally nothing more than furniture.
Moving up. Level 2, the digital mule. Now you're moving the product.
6 months pass in the glow of that monitor. You've proven to the bosses that you aren't a snitch, and man, the stakes escalate rapidly. You're now pulling in $3,000 per run. You aren't just sitting back and watching chat rooms anymore. You're actively moving product. The money is pouring in so fast that you've already bought your mom a brand new house. But of course, when you hand her the keys, she cries. She cries because deep down, she knows your slick story about working in import-export is a total lie. You briefly entertain the thought of getting out, but the sheer volume of cash, it's just intoxicating. Returning to regular money feels utterly impossible now.
And this is where the absolute physical paranoia really sets in. Sometimes you're moving stolen credit card data, sure, but other times it's physical. You're orchestrating the movement of 15 kilos of crystal meth perfectly hidden inside a white semi-truck belonging to a totally legitimate logistics company. Then comes the drop-off. You are the one physically standing in the post office line. Your heart is hammering so intensely you can actually hear it vibrating in your ears. You're just praying the postal agent doesn't notice your shaking hands. The digital world has completely bled into the real world. Every single glance from a stranger feels like deep suspicion. Every black SUV with tiny tinted windows that you pass on the street, it feels like an impending federal raid.
Which brings us to level 3, the code enforcer. This is all about digital violence.
By the time you reach this rank, you're officially known in the digital world as a red pole. That physical, shaking fear from the post office runs, it's gone, replaced by a chilling, totally detached routine. Your entire job description shifts. The syndicate's problems are no longer about logistics. The problems are people, and your specific job is to provide the solution. But here's the crazy part.
The solution isn't physical force. It's violence executed entirely in the form of computer code. You've basically become a digital hitman.
Let's say a rival dark web marketplace tries to move into your syndicate's territory. You don't negotiate. You shut them down completely using a massive DDoS attack. If one of your own vendors is caught skimming money from customers, you don't even issue a warning. You simply green-light their account. You instantly delete their escrow funds, and then you ruthlessly expose their real-world IP address right there on the public forums, literally throwing them to the wolves. You have, in essence, digitally killed a man. Not out of anger, not out of passion, but just because you were told to follow orders. It becomes so routine that you just calmly clean your keyboard and sit back waiting for the next encrypted message to pop up.
And then we hit level 4, the financial controller, laundering the millions.
Years pass. You're 25 years old now, and you've stepped completely away from the dirty work. You're officially a white paper fan, a senior administrator managing the absolute lifeblood of the empire through an incredibly complex laundering machine. You're taking millions upon millions of dollars in highly traceable Bitcoin and magically turning it into clean, legitimate cash. You systematically route these funds through obscure shell companies headquartered out in Panama. Then, you funnel that money straight into front operations, like supposed construction companies based in Puerto Vallarta. You've single-handedly engineered a financial structure so deeply convoluted that international investigators would need coordinated warrants in 6 different countries just to trace one single transaction.
At this stage, the illusion of control is absolute. I mean, you are flying around the world meeting with bankers in Cyprus. These guys are in tailored suits. They know exactly who you are and where the money comes from, but hey, the profit margins are way too high for them to care. You eat at the most expensive restaurants. You look exactly like a highly successful international businessman. But quietly, in the back of your head, this mantra haunts you. Valuable today means liable tomorrow. You know exactly how fragile this all is. It's why you tightly hold on to 3 different passports and why you maintain hidden properties in countries that have 0 extradition treaties, just in case.
That leads us to level 5, the dread admin. You are now the regional chief.
This is it, the absolute pinnacle of the dark web hierarchy. That broke kid who started out making $200 a week watching chat rooms is long gone. You are the sole entity who actually runs the entire marketplace. 3,000. That is the number of illicit vendors who answer directly to you. Your digital revenue streams have grown so incomprehensibly massive that they literally exceed the gross domestic product of some small nations. To the outside world, you're a ghost. The public has absolutely 0 idea what your face looks like. Even your own family is completely in the dark, thinking you just work a quiet, lucrative job in tech support.
But living like this is an agonizing dichotomy. It's insane. On the one hand, you wield godlike power. You control a massive global supply chain. You're personally negotiating high-level shipments of fentanyl and heroin directly with violent cartels. But on the other hand, you are living in a golden cage. The paranoia is literally eating you alive from the inside out. You're so utterly terrified of being caught that you execute your own loyal moderators based on mere suspicion, deciding it's always better to be safe than sorry. You realize with this sickening dread that you haven't walked down a public street without obsessively checking your mirrors in 5 long years. You own the entire digital world, but you're just a terrified prisoner trapped inside your own luxury apartment.
Finally, level 6, the Supermax Reckoning, the final collapse.
And then, the music stops. All that power, all those millions, it evaporates on a random Tuesday. And you never even see it coming. Maybe it was just a tiny technical glitch in your trusted VPN that leaked your true IP for a fraction of a second. Or maybe one of those partners you trusted finally flipped to the feds to save their own skin. Whatever the trigger was, the result is violently sudden. The door to your secure safe house isn't politely unlocked with a key. It is violently taken completely off its hinges by a tactical team. In a matter of seconds, you go from commanding a billion-dollar global empire to absolutely nothing.
And this number becomes your entire world, 23. That's the number of hours a day you will now sit in total isolation. You're locked in a 6 by 9 foot cell, the bed is bolted permanently to the wall, the metal toilet doesn't even have a seat. You have 20 years to sit in this concrete box, doing absolutely nothing but thinking about how fast it all disappeared. Because here is the absolute coldest truth of the digital underworld. As you sit there, basically a dead man waiting for the rest of your life, you realize the organization didn't die with you. The machine of the dark web just keeps moving without you.
The very second your monitor went black, a brand new, broke 15-year-old kid pulled up a plastic chair, stared into a blue screen, and took your seat as the watcher, just waiting for his turn to climb.
Which leaves us with this final, really haunting reality to consider. As you sit in that cell, you realize the physical shackles they put on your wrists, that wasn't the beginning of your prison sentence. The real shackles snapped shut the exact moment you said yes to that very first $5,000 job, convincing yourself you could somehow control the descent. Looking back at the intense paranoia, the total isolation, and the inevitable crash, was building that golden cage truly worth it? I'll leave you to think about that. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.